The rain had just begun to fall when Maya stepped off the bus, clutching the thin strap of her worn handbag like it was the only thing keeping her steady. The city lights blurred into streaks against the wet pavement, and for a moment she stood still, taking it all in. The towering glass building ahead shimmered like a world she had no right to enter. She checked the address again. This was it, the place where everything could change, or everything could confirm what she had always feared. You don't belong here. The words weren't spoken yet, but they lived in her bones. Echoes from years of being overlooked, underestimated, dismissed. Still, she took a step forward. Inside, the lobby was everything she expected. Marble floors, soft golden lighting, people in tailored suits gliding across the room like they were born into confidence. Conversations hummed with ease and privilege. Laughter came naturally here. Maya hesitated near the entrance, suddenly aware of her modest clothes, her slightly damp shoes, the way her hair refused to stay perfectly in place. She looked around, searching for a sign, a familiar face, anything to anchor her. "Can I help you?" The voice was polite, but the tone carried a subtle edge. The receptionist's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm here for the community partnership meeting," Maya said, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "I received an invitation." The receptionist glanced at her, then down at the screen. "Name, Maya Raman." A pause, a longer pause. "I don't see you on the list," the receptionist said, tilting her head slightly. "Are you sure you have the right place?" Maya swallowed. "Yes, I run a small community kitchen program. We provide meals for families in need. I was contacted." Before she could finish, a man in a sharp navy suit approached, his expression already skeptical. "What seems to be the issue?" The receptionist gestured subtly toward Maya. "She says she's here for the partnership meeting, but—" The man didn't let her finish. His eyes scanned Maya quickly, assessing, dismissing. "You don't belong here," he said flatly. The words landed harder than she expected, not because they were new, but because, for once, she had hoped they wouldn't come. "I was invited," Maya said quietly, her fingers tightening around her bag. "I have the email." "That's unlikely," he replied, already turning slightly away. "This is a closed meeting for selected partners. Maybe there's been a misunderstanding." A few people nearby had started to glance over. Whispers floated through the air like invisible threads tightening around her. Maya felt the familiar heat rise behind her eyes. She could leave. No one would stop her. No one would care. And for a brief moment, the thought tempted her, like it always had before. But then she remembered something else. A small boy with hollow eyes, holding a warm bowl of soup with trembling hands. A mother whispering, "Thank you," like it was the only hope she had left. The night she had stayed awake, stretching every dollar, every ounce of energy, just to keep that little kitchen running. She didn't do all of that to walk away now. Slowly, she reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "I can show you the invitation," she said, her voice steadier this time. The man sighed, clearly impatient. "That won't be necessary." But before he could say anything more, another voice cut through the tension. "It will be necessary." Everyone turned. An older woman stood near the elevator, her presence commanding without effort. She wore a simple but elegant outfit, her silver hair framing a face that carried both kindness and authority. "Bring her over," the woman said calmly. The man hesitated. "Ma'am, I don't think I said bring her over." Something in her tone made it clear. This wasn't a request. Reluctantly, he stepped aside. Maya walked forward, her heart pounding. The woman studied her for a moment, then smiled gently. "You're Maya Raman." It wasn't a question. Maya nodded, surprised. "Yes. I've been hoping you'd make it." A ripple of confusion spread across the room. The man who had dismissed her blinked. "You know her?" The woman turned to him, her expression now sharp. "Of course I do," she said. "She's the reason this meeting exists." Silence. The kind that makes everything feel louder. I don't understand," the man stammered. The woman gestured toward Maya. 3 months ago, I visited a small community kitchen on the south side. It was raining, much like tonight. I expected a typical charity setup. Limited resources, limited impact. She paused, her eyes softening. But what I found was something else entirely. I found dignity. I found people being treated not as burdens but as human beings. I found a young woman who had built something extraordinary with almost nothing. Maya felt her breath catch. You were there? She asked. The woman smiled. I was the quiet lady sitting in the corner. You gave me tea when you thought I was just another person needing help. Maya's mind raced back. The woman with tired eyes, the one who barely spoke, the one she had insisted on serving first. I didn't know, Maya began. Exactly, the woman said softly. You didn't know, and that's what made it real. She turned back to the others. This is Maya Raman, the founder of the program we're considering funding on a national scale. Gasps, murmurs. The energy in the room shifted instantly. The man who had said those words, "You don't belong here," looked like the ground had disappeared beneath him. I apologize, he said quickly. His tone completely changed. I didn't realize. Maya looked at him. For a moment she could have let the anger rise, could have held on to the hurt, the humiliation. But instead she did something unexpected. She smiled. It's okay, she said gently. You saw what you were used to seeing. The man blinked, unsure how to respond. The older woman watched this exchange closely, a hint of admiration in her eyes. Come, she said to Maya. You have a lot to share with us. As they walked into the meeting room, something inside Maya shifted, not because they had finally recognized her worth, but because she had chosen not to let their doubt define it. The meeting unfolded in ways she could never have imagined. People who had once overlooked her now leaned in, listening intently. They asked questions, took notes, discussed possibilities, and Maya spoke, not as someone seeking approval, but as someone who knew exactly why she was there. She spoke about the family she had met, about the quiet strength and struggle, about how a single act of kindness could ripple outward in ways no one could measure. By the end of the meeting, there were plans, real plans, to expand her initiative across multiple cities, but that wasn't the moment that stayed with her. It was what happened afterward. As people began to leave, the man who had dismissed her approached again, this time without arrogance. I meant what I said earlier, he began, hesitating. I'm sorry. Maya looked at him, really looked this time. He wasn't the villain she had imagined, just someone who had never been forced to see beyond his assumptions. I know, she said. He exhaled, relieved. Can I ask you something? He said. Of course. Why didn't you get angry? Maya thought for a moment. Because I've learned something, she said quietly. People don't always see you clearly at first. Sometimes they're looking through their own fears, their own expectations. She paused, then added, but that doesn't mean you have to become what they expect. The man nodded slowly. Thank you, he said. As Maya stepped back out into the rain later that night, everything felt different, not because the world had suddenly become kinder, but because she had proven, to herself more than anyone else, that she belonged wherever her purpose led her. The rain no longer felt cold, it felt cleansing. And for the first time in a long time, the voice inside her, the one that whispered, "You don't belong here," was quiet, replaced by something stronger, something steadier. You do. And somewhere, in a small kitchen on the south side, a light was still on, waiting, growing, becoming something the world could no longer ignore. Because sometimes the people who are told they don't belong are the very ones who are meant to change everything.